You're like a news anchor, like red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather.
I forget you read the NIV. So.
You know what? I'm gonna switch. I
don't know why I bash on the NIV so much.
No, as we're reading the different translations, I'm seeing the pieces that are either like missing or different, or even though your Bible is
NIV's fine.
Even though your Bible is PG compared to mine, actually no,
it was flipped.
It was flipped. But when we talked about Sodom, it wasn't.
Oh yeah.
Your guys wanted to know it. Mine were just straight up ready to go.
Yeah.
So it depends. It depends on the verse, right? So
already, like not even a minute in, now you kids can't even listen to this one either.
Oh, didn't even give them a warning. Sorry, parents. No. But the NIV I found is written so that people can like better understand it, whereas the ESV and the King James were written as they were written, as closely.
King James is 100%. That's
King James is the real deal. And I started reading. At first, I didn't like the "thus thou, thynest." Blah. It's like, come on. Did they really talk like that?
I joke all the freaking time. I don't know if we've talked about this. I joke all the time about people who are so hung up on King James. And that's great. You guys are right. But
did they really talk like that, though?
So funny to me.
Did they really say thine and thus and
I don't know.
Thou art and
I wouldn't see how they could, but I guess maybe they did.
I mean, why would
or
they make
like
it up?
Royal, maybe that's just royal talk. Only the royals talk
the Queen's English?
Yeah.
I don't know. But hey, welcome back to the podcast. We are getting into this. I can smell this pizza and it just smells so good right now. So we're continuing Daniel chapters 4 through 6. One of the
hopefully we can finish.
Chapters, specifically 5, is where the basis of this pizza was created, which is a barbecue chicken finger pizza.
Which doesn't make sense so far.
It doesn't, but it will. I'm gonna just try to see if I can get that. But look at the artistry in here.
I think you did that.
There is writing on the pizza, and that's supposed to be a hand with a finger.
Oh, I had no idea what that was. I thought there was just extra chicken fingers.
You thought I just didn't have a place for them?
I thought they were just there for
It's
the
supposed
side.
to be like, no, see,
or
he's
you're gonna pre-make it for your kids. So it's like, okay, I made you chicken for tomorrow. I really thought that. I was like, all right, whatever, it's fine.
Well,
but now I know it's a hand, and it looks like a hand.
Thank you for acknowledging it after I revealed it to you. But that's the whole point. Maybe
is it the pointer finger?
Yeah. Like if you're writing.
Oh, wow. So I guess we'll get into how. I figured the hand was writing with a utensil.
No,
but it doesn't have a utensil. Yeah.
No, it's the hand was writing in the plaster. That's how powerful that finger is. We're gonna get to it though.
Yeah, because I don't know.
So while I cut this up, do you want a finger specific, or do you want just
something on the side? Yeah.
Something else? You don't even want to eat the hand?
No.
Don't eat the hand that feeds you? Something like that?
Something like that.
Is that a thing?
Don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Oh, well, I'm gonna bite all of this hand. So yes, this is a barbecued chicken finger pizza with chicken finger stuffed crust. Yes, you heard it correctly. There are chicken fingers stuffed inside this crust.
Like I know in the previous one you mentioned, like Nebuchadnezzar had all these dreams. Is this only his second dream so far that we're about to read?
I think so.
like dreams. Like
a big dreamer.
How many dreams does this guy have?
This guy's a big dreamer.
This is only the second dream.
Yeah, but his dreams are so whack. In chapter 4...
You don't have whack dreams sometimes?
No, dude, I had the...
Yeah, they're dreams.
I had the craziest dream the other night. I woke up and was like, I never want that dream again. Like, it was terrible. But in chapter 4, Nebuchadnezzar has a dream. Yeah, I'm not going to eat the hand yet either. I'm going to save it for later. It's creeping me out.
This is the dream where he actually...
This is so heavy.
He says what it is.
Like, this piece of pizza right here has to weigh at least a pound.
Chicken stuffed crust. Chicken barbecue.
Yeah, you see? Can you see it? Oh, yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
You get that on camera? That's good stuff right there.
So this time he doesn't dream about a statue, he dreams about a tree.
He dreamed about a tree, and guess what? It terrified him.
Because the tree fell down.
Oh.
I think he knew what the tree was about, or he got a sense like, oh, this is not good. Like, in a dream, you know things that aren't actually made known to you. Does that make sense? Like I'll be in my...
No, because if he knew what it was about, he wouldn't have called all the wise men in his whole
He
kingdom.
just wanted to make sure. He just wanted to make sure. He had an idea that something was off. It's like sometimes you have a dream. Okay, well, I have a dream. I'm like in my grandparents' house.
Like Martin Luther King.
I have a dream. I'm in my grandparents' house in the dream, and I know I'm in my grandparents' house, but visually it looks like my elementary school or something. It's hard to explain.
That's trippy.
Yeah. So I'm like,
did you ever wake up at your house and think you were somewhere else?
No.
You don't travel for business, right? Mm-mm. At all? Mm-mm. Like ever?
Mm-mm. I mean, yeah, to like set up a new store, but...
Quick sidetrack.
Really.
Like I've woken up in like a hotel room, like traveling for business.
No, where am I?
And I honestly, I thought I like should have woken up at home. Mm-hmm. And I woke up and it took me like a good 20 seconds to figure out where
a long time.
It is. Like it freaked me out. I'm like, where am I? Where's my family? And then conversely, I've woken up here expecting to be in a hotel. So yeah, it's trippy when you wake up. Don't they say like if you wake somebody up and like let's say they wake up and they kill you, like they grab let's just
whatever you're about to say I've not heard ever.
So
continue.
Yeah, this is just really quick because we're talking about dreams. So this is all it ties in. Mm-hmm. But if you, let's say somebody is, I don't know, somebody has a knife on their nightstand or whatever for home protection.
Yeah.
And they're sleeping and you go in and you wake them up and they're like, and they grab the knife and they stab you. If they do it within like the first 30 seconds and like you die, they're not guilty of murder because like for that first 30 seconds or whatever from waking up from sleep, you're not in your conscious mind. Have you ever heard of anything like that?
No, never heard that.
I don't know how true it is, but that's why they say you never disturb people that are sleepwalking.
Yeah, that's...
Which I wouldn't do anyway because that's terrifying.
Yeah, sleepwalking is weird.
You ever sleepwalk?
No, I was gonna say I thought I did, but it was just a dream that I was peeing in a dream, and I was peeing in random places in the house. Thankfully, I didn't pee in real life.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because those kinds of dreams pretty much translate into real life.
No, because I was like at some like beach house. Yeah, so I don't think I've ever sleepwalked. I think that would be something I'd be like, yeah, I remember someone telling me.
It's creepy. I don't think I have either. Could you imagine going to sleep and you wake up somewhere else? Or you went and did something, like you cooked a meal and you didn't even realize it?
It'd be weird.
That's crazy. So anyway, chapter 4, Nebuchadnezzar dreams about a tree.
Tall, reach the heavens. Kind of sounds like Tower of Babel, the way some of the wording is.
Yeah. But before we even get into the details of the dream, Nebuchadnezzar opens up chapter 4. Did he take the pen from Daniel and write? Because he's writing in first person.
Mm-hmm. Like Daniel just found his letter and copied it or stuffed it in his journal.
Yeah, he's like, oh, this will be good. Let me just shove it in my book here.
Or they become so tight. Nebuchadnezzar's like, Daniel, you gotta let me write something. I don't know.
I don't know, they were good like that.
But it's cool. I'm glad that he has this intro because it's a good the intro is a good ending.
All right, comment which one you want me to eat first, elderflower or white peach.
It's gonna be a while before you.
2 weeks later, there might be one comment, and it's probably from me just getting tired of waiting.
I just want to drink it, please.
I'll go elderflower. I think we'll go big first.
Yeah, so there's this cool intro.
Yeah, and
giving praise to God.
This is the weird thing though, because he starts out like the first couple of verses. It's my pleasure to tell you about the miraculous signs of God Most High. His kingdom is an eternal kingdom. His dominion endures from generation to generation. But then a few verses later in like verse 8, finally Daniel came into my presence and I told him the dream. He is called Belteshazzar after the name of my God, and the spirit of the holy gods is in him. So why does he start the chapter praising God Most High? Then,
yeah, it's an intro and then he tells a story, and this is part of the story.
Yeah, but if he's saying he's filled with the spirit of the holy gods, there's only one God. So does Nebuchadnezzar still worship other gods?
Yeah, no, I had that question too, actually. But I did read a footnote at some point in one of these Bibles I read, talking about it could be God, singular, in the language, I think it's like Aramaic. It was like, it could be either or. I don't know. So, yeah, I had that same question. I was like, if he learned all this, is he just making God number one and keeping his other gods?
Yeah. So he praised God, but also had other gods, which is probably where his problem came from.
But
So
I took it as like that's an introduction, and then he tells a story. And he's like, during this time, this is how whatever.
So who is writing chapter 4? Did Nebuchadnezzar write? He couldn't have. It switches back. It switches back to third person.
No, he says I Nebuchadnezzar.
No, it does in the beginning, but then when you get into the later verses, it says all this happened to King Nebuchadnezzar. Immediately what was said about Nebuchadnezzar.
He is a king. Kings like to hear their names, I think.
So you think Nebuchadnezzar wrote all of chapter 4?
Maybe.
I think Nebuchadnezzar was like, Daniel, let me write this intro real quick. And then gave the pen back to Daniel and was like, all right, go ahead.
But like, when would that take place? I don't know.
Oh, back then. Nebuchadnezzar was at home, had a dream that made him afraid. I'm paraphrasing, but the Bible says the same thing.
Yeah. Big tree. It's
It says the images that passed through his head terrified him. And the dream was generally a large tree that spanned across like the whole earth.
Huge. Everyone could see it on earth.
Everyone could see it. It had fruit that everyone was eating from. It gave shade to all the beasts and perches to all the birds, and it covered everything, and it was glorious. I don't know how much detail you want to get into the dream.
It was like was it a voice that said it needs to come down?
It was a voice from the heavens, I think, right? In the visions I saw while lying in my bed, I looked, and there before me was a messenger, a holy one coming down from heaven. He called in a loud voice, cut down the tree and trim off its branches, strip off its leaves and scatter its fruit. Let the animals flee from under it and the birds from its branches. But let the stump and its roots, bound with iron and bronze, remain in the ground, in the grass of the field. And then, drenched with the dew of heaven, yada yada, it just continues on like that.
I think it's interesting about little ESV translation. It says watcher. Here it says messenger. NIV says messenger.
I like watcher better. That
Watcher sounds cool. Yeah.
It does sound cool.
Yeah. It like sends off signals of there's conspiracy theories and all kinds of crap about things called watchers, but it's interesting. Yeah.
Watchers. That sounds so much tougher than angel.
It sounds cool, but it also sounds boring. You're just like watching. By definition, this is what they do. How do you like your elderflower?
The elderflower, it's not as good as the original Red Bull.
Yeah.
Is it an actual flower? Because it tastes like a flower. It really does.
I noticed that when I tasted it the first time too. I was like, it tastes like a flower. It's weird. Why would anyone want to drink a flower?
I'm drinking a flower right now.
It's weird.
It's not bad, but it's floral.
This time he actually tells Daniel this dream instead of making him guess.
Yeah.
Or pray about it.
Yeah.
I guess I shouldn't say he's guessing.
But like I asked before, like why would he be so terrified of a tree being cut down? Was he from Avatar? Was it Home Tree? And he just...
Well, in the end it talks about
It makes no sense.
Well, the end of it talks about a man instead of a tree. So it like flips from a tree to a man. Let his mind be changed from a man to let a beast's mind be given to him. That would give some concern.
Oh, so you think when they mention that, he relates it to himself? Like, this is what's going to happen to me?
Yeah.
After he has his dream, he calls in all of the enchanters, diviners, magicians, and everybody except Daniel to interpret it.
Two questions. Why not go straight to Daniel?
That was
Question.
literally what I wrote right here.
Other question. Why are these guys even around if Daniel was in charge of them?
Exactly.
He's in charge. He's like, hey, it's all God. But then there's still these guys doing these other things. And Daniel's like, yeah, I'm in charge. You do what you do. I don't get it.
Maybe.
Why are they there?
Maybe they had to follow the chain of command. But I mean, this is the king.
And Daniel's in charge of them.
Yeah, so maybe Daniel was just busy and he was like, go take care of this dream for me. Peasant magicians.
I'm thinking since Daniel's around, they're like, well, we don't have to do any work anymore. And he thinks we're wise, and now we don't have to do anything. He calls us. We just get Daniel to do it.
So you think Daniel just sent them to make him work?
No. I don't know.
The king called him. It wasn't even Daniel's decision.
Yeah. But I don't get why they're even...
Well, why wouldn't the king just call Daniel right away?
That too.
Like, why waste time? That's like you're on a job and you have a question, so you go to the trainee instead of the trainer.
Yeah.
Like,
doesn't make sense.
No, the king wasn't the sharpest knife in the spoon either.
Yeah.
Because
knife in the spoon?
Exactly.
Inside the spoon is a knife that's not sharp?
When you figure it out, you'll be wise. Obviously, none of the wise men could interpret the dream. So Daniel came in.
Not coming. Yeah.
Yeah, so Daniel came in, interpreted it. In a nutshell, the tree was Nebuchadnezzar. It says he was going to be cut down and removed from his kingdom. But after a time of 7 periods...
The stump would remain.
Yeah, the stump.
But it would be chained up. So
yeah.
It's going to be around. But yeah, then he's sent into the wild.
It says 7 periods. How long is that?
Yeah. I think it's 7 years. Because
a period is a year?
So, it just based off of what other people say, honestly, I think it's years. They say it's a year, and I'm like, oh yeah, it makes sense. So it's, because like later on in like chapter 7, in another chapter even past 7, he uses times. It's like times and
times, yeah.
I don't know. But then they're like, oh, that's 3.5 years. I'm like, if you say so. Little footnote or little researcher guy. I don't know what that means. And so there's a couple moments where they say time or period or whatever, and the scholars think it's a year. I'm like, yeah, I guess it's a year.
Yeah, because Daniel says, this is the interpretation. This is the decree the Most High has issued against my lord the king. You'll be driven away from people, and you'll live with the wild animals. You'll eat grass like cattle and be drenched with the dew of heaven. 7 times will pass by for you until you acknowledge that the Most High is sovereign over kingdoms of men and gives them to anyone he wishes. The command to leave the stump of the tree with its roots means that your kingdom will be restored to you when you acknowledge that heaven rules. Heaven rules and Babylon rules. That's what they say. Therefore, be pleased to accept my advice. Renounce your sins by doing what is right and your wickedness by being kind to the oppressed. It may be then that your prosperity will continue. So it's almost like maybe if you do this now, you won't have to go through this. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But guess what? A year passed by.
I think he does good for a year. I think he's trying his best. And then his pride
I don't think so.
His pride just gets to him.
No.
I think so. I think he listens to Daniel. He's like, dude, you know what?
Do you think that's why a year went by before anything happened?
Mm-hmm. I think he really tried. He's like, dude, Daniel, you had that other interpretation? I respect you. All right. I was afraid. That makes sense. Gonna do my best.
I don't think so at all.
Okay.
Nebuchadnezzar was too prideful for that.
No, because after the other interpretation, he's like, your God is true. And he has that. Is that when he had the decree from the previous one? Or does the decree come from this dream?
I think it's from...
I think it was the previous one, right?
Yeah, it was the previous one.
So, I think he tries his best. I think he really does.
I don't know, but 12 months go by.
Yeah.
After this interpretation...
He has one little slip up.
Did Daniel's first dream interpretation get fulfilled by now? Or was that still lingering too?
No, it's still lingering because that's about the head. He represents the head.
Yeah.
And the chest, his chest and arms represent people that come after him, the Medes and the Persians.
Okay, yeah.
And Darius is a Mede.
So this
Cyrus
is a dream within a dream. So he hadn't even hit the first dream yet. He's already on the second one. So this is Inception.
It's not within a dream. I mean,
it's a dream before... While the first dream is still being fulfilled, it's a dream within that dream.
But the dream isn't happening. The dream happened.
Didn't happen yet. You just said. Which I agree with.
The fulfillment didn't happen, but the dream happened.
Yeah, but the fulfillment is still...
Yeah, so there's a dream within the fulfillment, but not a dream within the dream. But it's still fun to say a dream within a dream.
I like it.
But it's incorrect, but...
Well, whatever. Semantics. after 12 months goes by, Nebuchadnezzar is walking on the roof of the palace of Babylon. And he is literally audibly praising himself and how majestic his kingdom is and everything that he has built. Like, look at how amazing I am and everything that I built. I am amazing. And before the words even leave his mouth, it says, a voice from heaven came down and said, pump the brakes, Nebi.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to hit a change up here.
Yeah. Like everything I said in that dream, that's what's going to happen.
And that's verbatim what it says in the Bible. It says, pump the brakes,
Pump the
Nebi.
brakes, Nebi.
12 months later, as the king was walking on the roof of the royal palace, he said, is not this the great Babylon I have built as a royal residence by my mighty power and for the glory of my majesty? The words were still on his lips when a voice came from heaven. This is what is decreed for you, King Nebuchadnezzar. Which is the same thing. It's like pump the brakes.
Mm-hmm.
Depends on what version you have.
Mm-hmm.
Your royal authority has been taken from you. You will be driven away from people and live with the wild animals. You'll eat grass like cattle. 7 times will pass by for you until you acknowledge that the Most High is sovereign over the kingdom of men and gives them to anyone he wishes. Immediately, what had been said about Nebuchadnezzar was fulfilled. And then they give no detail about it.
Yeah,
Like,
it'd be nice to have some detail.
That drives me crazy because now I'm like, how do you immediately take the king who's literally standing on his palace praising himself and no one's going to argue with him?
Mm-hmm.
How do you take him and all of a sudden, like, immediately he's living with the wild animals? Like, was he falsely accused of something and then acquitted later? And they're like, oh, sorry,
No, it was like a mental thing. Like now he's like a wild animal now.
You think he just had a mental breakdown? Like while he was still talking, he just, like a stroke and then...
Kind of, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, like mentioned.
You think he threw himself out?
No, God.
You think he's like, you know what? I don't like this kingdom anymore. I want to go live with the animals.
No.
Well, then what are you talking about? I'm going to eat the thumb.
Yeah.
It just looks tasty. This pizza is very good, by the way. I haven't made a bad pizza yet. The caramel apple one... The caramel apple one was...
I'll let you sit on that one for a second.
As he was praising his own pizza, before the words left his mouth, the caramel apple one was still good. It was just concrete.
It talks about his
No, because it...
sanity coming back to him at some point, or something along...
Well, obviously, if you're living with the animals, you're going to go nuts. But then...
My reason returned to me, is what he later says after. So his reason left him, basically. So it's some mental thing that God put upon him to become animal-like. And I actually learned there's a legit like mental illness thing where that can happen. I think it's super rare. It's called zoanthropy or boanthropy. Zoanthropy is like for any animal. Boanthropy is specifically for cattle, which sounds more like Nebuchadnezzar's thing, like on the ground eating grass, whatever. But it's when you have some mental thing happen and you think you're an animal and you act like an animal and yeah.
So Nebuchadnezzar decided to self-identify as an
I don't think he decided this, no. God's like, this is happening. And it happened. And he's like basically a wild animal.
So he crawled on all fours through his palace and then walked outside.
He's a caveman now, or Neanderthal.
So he Neanderthaled his way back through the palace, outside, left the gates, and then just said, I'm out.
He probably didn't say anything. He's probably...
Keep the light on.
Animal, like. He probably wasn't... I imagine he's not speaking anymore. He's just grunting.
You just think he went full rabid.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why no other king took his place while he was gone?
I don't know that.
Because he
it doesn't say no one took his place.
Everyone...
If it's 7 years, someone's in his place.
I don't know if it's 7 years, dude.
Yeah, I don't either.
It just says 7 times. It could be 7 days for all we know.
Yeah. Oh, dude,
Don't you have Google? Don't you have, like, the power of the internet in your hand?
Well, if I search it, it's going to say what I already said. The scholars think it means years based on these verses saying this and that. But I just remembered about when Daniel first heard this dream. Like, he was scared. He's like, oh no, king, like, I hope... Basically saying something like, I wish this dream, or I hope this dream was on your enemies, not you, but it is about you. But I'm like, dude, Daniel, this guy kidnapped you. This guy might have, like, emasculated you, speculatively, turned him into a eunuch. Probably killed some of his family and friends, people he at least knew of from Judah. And he's worried about this guy.
He threw his friends in the fire.
That's crazy. And he's like, oh no, oh my God, king. Like, is this guy just that kind?
I don't know.
Yeah, so
I have mixed reviews about Daniel at the moment.
I think he's a stand-up guy. I think he's great. I feel bad for him.
He may be blameless, but I don't know. Something about him.
But yeah, so I think Nebuchadnezzar's basically full Neanderthal out there. I think it's like a boanthropy type deal. But then it also makes me think of some crazy thing that goes on, like a pig. A pig on a farm is a little cute little pig rolling mud, relatively cute. But you put them in the wild, like whatever the term is, they just change and they become like a boar.
Feral?
Yeah, maybe that's the word. I don't know. Like, I'm like, is that what's happening with Nebuchadnezzar? He goes out there and he's getting claws like a freaking bird.
He's got hair like eagle's feathers.
Yeah, like, is he becoming like a boar would become? And there's other animals that do that too. I don't know what they are.
If you live in the wild to the point where you're eating grass, yeah, dude, you're pretty feral.
But your body literally changes. Like, a pig literally grows tusks.
Well, he didn't literally grow feathers.
I don't know.
He said his hair grew like eagle's feathers.
Like eagle's feathers, yeah.
Which means it just wasn't combed. It was just hair in the wild.
Yeah.
It's wild hair.
Yeah. But he's got, like, claws.
Well, if you don't cut your fingernails.
Are they
apparently
like
he
claws,
didn't bite
though?
them.
I don't know if they become like claws. I see people with, like, crazy long ones, but they're, like, weird.
Yeah, dude. Like,
they're not, like,
if you don't cut your fingernails,
they get weird.
Even after a year, if you don't cut your fingernails, you're going to have claws. And then if 7 years you're in the wild, I mean, you're going to have... I mean, they didn't say talons, but they said claws like a bird.
Talons?
Pretty... Well, a claw and a talon are two different things.
What's the definition of a talon?
A talon is a
bird claw.
A big claw.
What is a bird claw? Another word for bird claw, talon.
A big claw is a talon.
But, okay.
Either way.
I just want to get back to this pig thing real quick. Do you know, like, that blows my mind still. A pig grows tusks just because it now is living in the wild?
Since when?
That's always. What do you mean, since when?
It's called a boar. That's a different animal.
No. You take a pig, it becomes a boar. You take a domestic pig, put it out in the wild, it's going to become a boar.
And grow tusks.
Yes. It's insane. You didn't know this. It's insane.
I still don't believe you.
Oh my gosh, you're going to have to look it up because it's kind of relevant, but...
It's completely irrelevant, but it's a fun fact.
It's relevant because this guy...
You think he grew tusks?
No, I don't think he grew tusks. But it just made me think about that. And like that, anytime I think about it, I'm like, that's mind-blowing. Freaking pig turns into a boar. You'll have to look it up.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
It is cool, but I don't get it. And there's other animals that do similar stuff that are like domesticated and they go out in the wild.
Because it's
like,
either adapt or die.
Immediately adapt. That's crazy.
You only have that choice. Adapt
Why not
or die.
have a tusk already?
I don't know.
Okay, so where were we? Yeah, so I think he's out there like an animal.
So he's on the roof.
Yeah.
God says, hey.
He's not on the roof anymore. Yeah.
No, I'm on the roof with Nebi right now.
Okay.
So he's praising himself. God says, all right, your kingdom's coming to an end after 7 times when you finally acknowledge that I make the rules. Mm-hmm. Then your kingdom will be restored. Mm-hmm. From your perspective, Nebi's mind goes full rabid. He turns feral. Mm-hmm. How does he get from the roof out into the animals to eat the grass? Does he literally crawl on all fours through his palace, back downstairs? All the guards are like,
he could still be
why
on
is the
two
king?
legs.
Why is the king going nuts right now? Mm-hmm. Oh, the king just went outside. Oh, the king just left the city. The king, mm-hmm. And then the king has to have guards, right? Mm-hmm. So did the guards stay in the wild with him?
No.
Why not? The president has Secret Service agents. They follow him everywhere he goes.
If he goes wild and runs out like that, actually in today's age, they probably would follow him. There'd be a camera on him 24/7. But, yeah, Nebuchadnezzar is just he runs out, and they're probably like, what? And then he's gone.
And then they have like a huge party because Daddy's not home.
No, they probably freak out.
Because
they have someone else fill in.
I don't think they had somebody else fill in. Otherwise, it would have stated that.
They would. No, they have someone else fill in.
You don't think God could have held this position? Like, hey, we're going to put this on ice.
Sure.
Just everybody knows their role. Just maintain the kingdom until this guy gets his act together and realizes.
Maybe they made it hush hush, and they pretended Nebuchadnezzar was just in bed, behind doors, doing his own.
The king doesn't want to be disturbed. He's in deep thought. Meanwhile, though, they see him outside, like running around with chasing foxes and running away from Samson.
Oh man,
who knows? Wouldn't that be a trip?
Run away from Samson?
Like Samson catches Nebi and ties...
How old would Samson have been?
And ties him to a fox. I don't know. What was the time period between...
I don't know.
Oh, Judges and Daniel? Yeah, way different. Different timelines. Dang it, man. I just want all of them to be like... Right all there. In the same lifespan. It would be so cool to be just tying
some
them
of them
together.
intertwined. Like, was it Isaiah? He's in a couple of them.
Yeah. And Noah's grandfather, who he... allowed to drown in the flood. Didn't even give him a spot on the boat.
Potentially. There's always room. He could have died right before the flood. I think he drowned, though.
He drowned. We all know he drowned. Let's be real.
I think he drowned.
Nebuchadnezzar goes feral. He's out in the wild.
Thankfully, for the intro, we know he comes back to his senses.
Eventually. Do we?
Yeah, because the intro, he's saying, praise to God, his dominion.
That was from the last thing.
No, the intro 4, where he's like, hey, praise God.
Oh, you think he Tarantino this again and said the ending before the beginning? He could have been praising God from the previous 3 chapters.
No, he's basically saying God is good. Here's a story, and he tells a story.
So you're saying he started chapter 4 and said, praise God for everything he's done for me. Daniel, write my story.
Yeah, it has seemed good to me to show the signs and wonders that the Most High God has done for me. And then proceeds to
refer to himself as in the third person for the entire story.
For some of the story, yeah. Because after that, he still says, I, Nebuchadnezzar, was at ease in my house, whatever.
Maybe he wrote it when he was wild.
Doubt it. Yeah, he prefaces his story of God is good. Here's why. He tells a story. So 7 years come, and
7 times.
7 periods of time.
We don't know yet.
True.
Doesn't even have a footnote. Oh wait, hold on. Stand by.
Is it just too small to read?
It says, or years.
Which doesn't mean it's true. It means it's what they think also. Yeah.
The NIV, man, with their footnotes all the time.
You don't read footnotes?
No.
It's saying or year. It's not.
I only read the footnotes if I'm interested in digging into a specific word.
Gotcha.
That has a.
There's only like 3 footnotes a page, though.
I know, but I mean, most of it I can figure out on my own. But when they use weird, like score, which I break down in the future chapters, how long a score is.
A couple of years. I don't know if mine says score, honestly. I don't think I read score in any of my...
Yeah, when... We'll get to it. Oh, I had a question here. Do you think God waited that long until Nebuchadnezzar was at the highest personal point in his life, like from his perspective, like where he was literally on top of the world going, look at how awesome I am. Like, I'm the greatest. Look at everything I've done. Like, that's basically the highest he's ever gotten in life.
Yeah.
And then you think God waited for that particular moment, and then right when that happened, let me bring you back down a couple notches just so you don't get too crazy.
Makes sense to me.
I think the timing makes sense. Like, as he was praising himself, looking over everything that he was in charge of, he was praising his own majesty.
Apparently he made the Hanging Gardens.
That sounds awesome.
Mm-hmm. It's one of the 7 wonders of the world or something. You never heard of that?
It is not one of the 7 wonders of the world. It's maybe the 9th.
Well, it's confusing because there's like
No, the 7 wonders of
there's
the world
speculation if it's actually
do not
true.
include hanging gardens.
Bro.
I can't honestly tell you what all 7 of them are, but I know hanging gardens was not one of them. I know it was like
God, you were so wrong, bro.
the pyramids and some other stuff, 6 other things.
Okay, so I just Googled hanging gardens of Babylon. I go to the
You're not looking at Wikipedia.
The wiki summarization. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon were one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world listed by Hellenic culture. But there's also speculation
Google search the 7 wonders of the world.
Maybe there's just different 7 wonders?
Yeah, because the 7 wonders of the ancient world might be a different category.
True. Because, yeah, there's like speculations of the Hanging Gardens even being real.
I mean, I love the sound of it. And like visually in my head, I'm picturing something pretty awesome.
Why did you get a list? New 7 wonders? You just make up new
See, that's what I'm
wonders?
saying. Well, if we figure things out, then they're not wonders anymore, right?
Great Wall, Chichen Itza.
Okay, yeah. I'm with you.
Whatever Petra is.
Petra?
Yeah.
That's an 80s Christian rock band. I love Petra. I had their cassette tapes.
Machu Picchu. Christ the Redeemer.
Okay, I like...
The statue.
It's not really a wonder. I mean, we know how it was built.
Yeah. Colosseum.
The pyramids aren't in there?
Taj Mahal. Not in this new
Taj
list.
Mahal?
Not in this new
Those
list.
aren't wonders. Those are just cool tourist attractions.
Okay. Oh, there's different eras.
Oh, God, they
Leaning
muddied
Tower-
up our entire...
Leaning Tower of Pisa was one of these eras.
Okay, that one I think was part of the orig.
Isn't it kind of small, though? Compared to a lot of these other
But it's
things?
leaning. It's not the point that it's tall. It's leaning.
Oh, look at my tower.
Boy, that's a small tower. Whoa, look at that wonder.
Okay, here we go. You want the Canonical 7 Wonders. Established in 1572.
Yeah,
Probably
let's
what
do
you're
it.
looking for.
Probably, let's do it.
I'm just going to skip down
The
to
pyramids
number
have-
3 is Hanging Gardens of Babylon.
Are
Yeah,
the
we got
pyramids in there?
Great Pyramid
Dang
of
it.
Giza, Colossus of Rhodes, Hanging Gardens of Babylon, Lighthouse of Alexandria, Mausoleum at Halicarnassus, Statue of Zeus at Olympia, and Temple of Artemis.
Okay, now it's a different list.
I guess there's the old.
Those are the 7 wonders of the ancient world
That
that
was
you just
established in
read.
the 1500s. That's not
That's
that ancient.
ancient to
It's
us.
Old. Anyways, yeah, apparently Nebuchadnezzar made that. But then there's now speculation that is it even real? I don't know.
I mean, what was it? Like literal, like plants hanging?
I have no idea.
Because we do upside down Christmas trees and stuff now. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, you can grow tomatoes upside down. People do that. That's a garden, right? Upside down garden, hanging garden.
I don't know.
I mean, how cool would that be if your whole ceiling was just like tomato plants and you just walk into a room and grab some
It's
food?
probably more like they're hanging, but they're not upside down. They would still go up. Like it's hanging on,
So that would be called suspended gardens, not hanging.
it's just suspended and hanging are synonyms.
Are they though?
I'm suspended in the air. I'm hanging in the air.
Hanging and suspended are two different things.
I'm not hanging upside down in the air. I'm hanging in the air.
I don't know. I view hanging and suspended as two different things.
When someone
You say-
dies and gets hanged, are they upside down on their feet?
No, but they're not suspended. They're hanged.
Oh my goodness.
Hanging gardens, like if
So
the
you
plants are
hang-
upright, you're just.
You hang a garden bed.
I know, but it's just boring that way. Like, I want the hanging gardens to be upside down plants.
Yeah.
It just is what it is.
Yeah. I want it to be real.
And if it's not a wonder to me.
Yeah.
Fact.
I'm with you.
Well, a little sidetrack there. We haven't even gotten to chapter 5 yet, dude. All right, so
I don't think chapter 5 would be as long.
it won't. I mean, I already covered half of it in the pizza.
Yeah, there we go. Basically, he's restored. He comes to his senses. He looks up. He praises God and all that.
And it says, at the end of that time, I, Nebuchadnezzar, raised my eyes towards heaven, and my sanity was restored. Then I praised the Most High. I honored and glorified him who lives forever. His dominion is an eternal dominion. His kingdom endures from generation to generation. All the peoples of the earth are regarded as nothing. He does as he pleases with the powers of heaven and the peoples of the earth. No one can hold back his hand or say to him, What have you done? And then it finishes with, now I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise and exalt and glorify the King of heaven, because everything he does is right and all his ways are just, and those who walk in pride he is able to humble.
It's mighty big of him.
I find it hard to piece together how he went from the roof of his palace, being the king, to 7 years of living in the wild.
Yeah. Like the CEO of Facebook going wild, going to live in Mark Zuckerberg's out in the freaking forest. And 7 years later, he's like, all right, guys, sorry. Had a little episode, I'm back. And they're like, okay, we've moved on, Mark.
I don't think anyone would notice if Zuckerberg disappeared, to be honest.
I picked an interesting choice.
You did. Like, people wouldn't be surprised if Zuckerberg went rogue for 7 years and then came back all feral and everything and needed it.
I wish I picked a different analogy.
You should have.
Dang it.
Like, literally anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody.
Any other big company. CEO's out, comes back in. They moved on. Sorry, man. You abandoned your job.
But did they move on? Because it doesn't say there's no vice king. Wait, there had to be a queen. Maybe the queen ran stuff and was just like...
Maybe.
Hey, while he's out...
And they have an order of, chain of command. Next chain, move up. Like, okay, Nebi's back. All right.
Prodigal dad?
I don't know.
Prodigal king?
Yeah. Speaking of...
That's weird.
The next guy, Belshazzar.
Belshazzar, not to be confused with Belteshazzar, which is Daniel's alias.
Cooler name. Oh, isn't it cool? He's mentioned as Daniel pretty much throughout now.
Yeah,
his name. Like, hey, Daniel. Sometimes he goes by Belteshazzar, but Daniel, and then they actually say Daniel. These other guys, these Babylonians.
No, and I had a bunch of questions about that because
it's pretty cool.
It is cool, but
like, bro,
I don't know how we pieced that back together because. All right, so chapter 5.
Belshazzar.
King Belshazzar is Nebuchadnezzar's son.
Not necessarily.
It literally says it in here.
Check your footnotes. It says father, but it's a word used for like predecessor. So it could be great grandfather. It could be. Check your footnotes, bro. I bet it's there. Predecessor somewhere down there.
Dude, I'm done with these footnotes. I'm done.
You didn't even have to find the verse. You just look at the footnotes. Predecessor.
The first word I saw was ancestor or predecessor. But ancestor, in order to be the next king, you have to be in the line.
Yeah, so I actually did a lot of other reading. There's a whole book I read on Daniel. And it breaks down all kinds of history from other records.
Yeah.
I don't remember any of the names. But
okay.
Yeah. Pretty sure it's not father and son, based off what I read, but I can't tell you what I read because I don't remember.
Then how did he become king?
Sometimes they just...
You can't. If you're not in the royal bloodline, you can't become king.
He's in the royal bloodline. He's a predecessor. He's within the bloodline. He could be the son.
How can you be in the bloodline but not be...
Son. He could be the son's son or the son's son's son.
That'd be like the nephew.
No, it'd be the grandson or the great-grandson.
So what happened to the other ones then?
I have no idea.
For that matter, what happened to Nebuchadnezzar? It never even said.
No idea. No idea.
Never even said. Like, normally the Bible will tell you, Nebuchadnezzar reigned for this many years, and then he died at the age of blah, blah, blah. We get nothing. I don't get it.
So Belshazzar starts out, he's having a great feast with all his lords and wives and...
concubines.
Yeah.
Just like us, minus wives and concubines and 1,000 nobles. He decided to have a great banquet. Mine says banquet. Yours says feast. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Banquet's more formal. Banquet's like a black tie event. A feast is like
fun. Feast is fun.
A feast is like a tailgate barbecue.
We're eating, buddy. Yeah. We don't have like a fancy little steak with a little tiny leaf on it.
No, the banquet...
We have the full pig. We have the full cow.
Yeah. No, the banquet sounds a lot more formal.
Yeah.
He has a banquet for 1,000 of his nobles and drank wine with them. Mm-hmm. As typical, right?
Nothing wrong so far, kind of.
No. So while they're at the party, he's drinking wine with his wives, his concubines, and the nobles.
You know what would be better? If we drank this out of all the gold and silver and all the stuff we have stashed in there.
Yeah. So he gives the order to go and retrieve the goblets, the gold and silver goblets that were in their treasury that from
Take from
what
the temple
what Nebuchadnezzar took from the Lord's temple
in Jerusalem.
In his previous reign. And they decide to get these goblets and then drink out of them. Bad move.
Shouldn't have done that. Yeah.
No.
Immediately.
Does it say immediately?
Immediately, the fingers of a human hand appeared and wrote on the plaster of the wall of the king's palace opposite the lampstand.
Yeah. So the fingers wrote on the plaster. So it wasn't like they had a pen, like the finger itself. And think about that. Plaster's pretty hard. So, I mean, that finger was just like
very cool.
Dramatic effect. Like, if you picture that, it's pretty sweet.
I'm glad you pointed that out because I imagined a hand and it just has a pen or a paintbrush or something.
No, I mean...
But it does say fingers.
Yeah. In my head, I picture, like, blood, because you always, like... Anytime you see a finger writing on a wall, it's usually some horror. But if it's writing on the plaster, I don't know if it, like, carved it in the plaster or what.
Yeah.
But
it does say on the plaster, not in the plaster.
Before we even dig into that really quick, part of this party was all of the king's, like, nobles. 1,000 of his nobles. Nobles are like the top people, right? So where was Daniel? Wasn't he one of the top people from Nebuchadnezzar? Or does he only serve like under that king, and then when that king disappears, his career?
He's also old now. He's also like 80 years old.
Daniel?
He's about 80 years old now.
Because I was wondering where Daniel is. Well, is there an age limit to being in the king's service?
I don't know. But if you're 80 years old, you can do what you want. Like, I'll get to your meeting when I feel like it.
Yeah, I guess.
Then he could be kind of retired. He could be retired.
You think so? I mean, he's 80. Might as well be, right?
Yeah.
So, as the fingers are writing on the wall, I like how it specifies that they wrote on the plaster
opposite the lamp.
Opposite, like near the lampstand.
So you could see it.
So everyone could see it. Yeah, because it's lit up.
Yeah.
But then it says the king watched the hand as it wrote. So was he the only one that could see the hand?
Like no one else?
Or
everyone else saw the writing?
Everyone else saw the writing, but he saw the hand?
I think so.
Or did everybody see the hand?
The way I read it, I think he was the only one that saw the hand.
I mean, the fact that they could see the writing is still good. But basically, the king watched the hand as it wrote, and it says like he was terrified and his knees were clacking together.
It could have been he was the only one to see the hand, and the others saw the writing happen, but not the hand, or no one else just even noticed. Like until they probably all saw the king, all the intentions on the king. The king sees and he's like freaked out, and they're like, "King."
If the king saw it, other people looked. There's no way.
He was pretty freaked out. I don't know if I could not look away from the king.
I'm eating a hand as we speak, which is kind of coincidental. He called in all the enchanters, diviners, magicians, and the wise men. So,
I guess they weren't. I don't know why.
I guess they weren't part of the nobles. And he didn't even know who Daniel was, basically.
Basically, yeah.
So,
which is stupid.
Where was that disconnect? Was Daniel not in the king's service?
Well, he's like 80. I think he's retired. He's like 80. He's just not as active anymore. But he should have heard stories.
Well, anyway, none of the other people the king called in could read it.
But again, why are these people he calling in? Why are they even around? If Daniel's in charge of them, why isn't he?
He's retired. Remember?
Yeah, but if he was
words.
If he was in charge of them, why didn't he either say, "Hey, what you're doing sucks. Let me show you the right way," because obviously you guys have failed and I keep on doing it the right way. And just completely changes that group.
I'm tired of interpreting your dumb dreams and your writings.
Like, he should change that whole group or just get rid of the group. It's like, okay, it's only Daniel now. While Daniel's alive, it's just Daniel. There's no other wise guys. It's just Daniel. He's the only wise guy.
They needed magicians for entertainment.
There's other ways in.
Card tricks.
But then why would you call them in?
Fire breathing.
But why would you call them in for these interpretations and stuff? I just don't get it. I think he's stupid.
I think it's stupid. As you crack a Red Bull can over your head.
Yeah. I should have done it the other way. It would have been cooler. Would have hurt more, but it would have been cooler.
I don't need you knocked out. Good for the video, bad for audio. The king calls in all of these wise men, quote unquote wise men. They can't interpret the writing. So the queen overhears the king talking to the nobles or the wise men in the other room. So she comes in and says, and this is a phrase that you'll see at least 3 times in the next 2 chapters. It says, the queen heard the voices of the king and his nobles and came into the banquet room and said, "O king, live forever." Like they always start anything they're going to say.
Like, long live the king.
Was that...
It's just a thing.
Was that like customary or were they just brown nosers?
Both.
Because obviously the king's not going to live forever. Everyone knows that.
Yeah. You've heard that before, though, right?
I've heard long live the king, but
so
not,
it's just
king, live forever.
It's just a version of it.
Long live and live forever are 2 very different spans of time.
Different languages and translation.
It sounds cheesy, and
Exactly.
if I was the king, I'd be like, don't ever tell me that. I'd be like, stop patronizing me. You know I'm not going to live forever. How about
maybe you think
how about just, hey, king, just like live a while, live a long time.
Live a little bit.
Yeah, something.
Live a good life.
So she tells him about Daniel and says, like, hey, back when Nebuchadnezzar was king, Daniel was, his top guy, and we appointed him chief of all of the magicians, enchanters, diviners, and everybody else, and he interpreted dreams for your father.
Yeah.
And this is why I thought Belshazzar was his son. It says his father. Whatever the subtext says.
Yeah.
So the king's like, okay, bring him in. Then he tells Daniel, if you can read this writing, I'll clothe you in purple, I'll put a gold chain around your neck, and I'll make you the 3rd highest rank in the kingdom.
He's 80 now, but he doesn't care about this king.
Daniel is a straight baller. He goes, you know what? Keep your gifts, dude. I don't want your trashy purple clothes and gold chain.
Yeah. And like before with Nebuchadnezzar, he's like, your dream is so scary, blah blah blah. This one he's like, yeah, it sucks for you. This is what's gonna happen. Doesn't care about this guy.
I don't know how he didn't hear about Daniel before though.
Yeah.
That was one of the questions I wrote down because I thought Daniel was a pretty big deal.
I think it was.
Like everybody in the whole kingdom knew Daniel. But if Daniel wasn't serving in the king's service anymore, what was he doing?
When you retired.
I know, but was he just sitting at home doing nothing?
Yeah.
Well, that's why he went back to his original name, right? I mean, if you're not gonna be around Nebuchadnezzar, who changed your name.
Nebuchadnezzar was calling him Daniel too, in the previous chapter.
Oh, after he realized Daniel's God was like the God?
Yeah.
He's like, you know what? I'm not going to name you after my God anymore because...
I think that's cool. That he's known as Daniel now.
Because the book of Belteshazzar in the Bible would just be weird.
That'd be cool.
I don't like that name.
I hate it.
Personally, I hate it. As much as I hate Belshazzar.
I don't like Belshazzar.
It sounds like...
Belshazzar sucks.
It sounds like a burp or a throw up.
Belshazzar.
Yes. That's pretty good.
But...
Wow.
Belteshazzar.
You nailed it. Daniel just told the king, like, keep your gifts, right? And then why make him the 3rd highest in the kingdom? Who was 2nd? Was the king just reserving spots 1 and 2 for himself?
Yeah. Another part of the reading I read was this guy potentially wasn't the actual like king. He was just like a co-king. Because of other documents, there's not a document that they have found, I believe. I believe it's him. It could be the next guy, Darius. I wish I wrote it down. For one of them, there's like...
Where do you find out? Do you read like the National Enquirer Bible edition?
No, this is a book I got.
You come up with all these conspiracy theories.
No, it's not a conspiracy theory. This book I've had it for a while, and I was going to just read it whenever I read Daniel. There's another book also about Revelation, same guy. But so it mentions, I'm pretty sure it's him. He was co-regent or something was the term he used. So it's not like he wasn't the sole king or the full-on king.
So was Nebi still the king? He was just too old, so he had Belshazzar making decisions for him?
No, I don't think so. There's some other name it mentioned. And so it's like, maybe also they just went by different names. No, don't bring your vertigo back.
I don't need that, yeah. I'll just do this. Oh, that made me dizzy.
Yeah, so he says it'll be number 2. It could be also if he has a queen. I don't know. Because queen also, I don't know if it has a footnote for queen. Queen is also potentially queen mother.
Sounds like an alien. I guess it makes sense that the queen could be number 2, right? Or women didn't have a whole lot of authority or say in much. Did the queen? Was that like an exception?
I don't know. But these are also Babylonian, and it's probably a little different outside of Jerusalem standards.
Yeah. Daniel tells the king, he reads...
Mene, Tekel, and Parson?
Yeah, pretty close.
Pretty close. What's wrong?
I don't know, that's the way I read it.
Oh, okay.
But I just assume we butchered it somehow.
Well, yeah, close. Like, how do you say it? The same way, but...
Mene, God has numbered the days of your reign and brought it to an end. I like how they say that part twice. Mm-hmm. Tekel, you have been weighed on the scales and found wanting. Perez, also Parson. Perez is the singular of Parson. Your kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians. So like you said before. It says, then at Belshazzar's command, Daniel was clothed in purple, a gold chain was put around his neck, and he was made the 3rd highest. That very night, Belshazzar, king of the Babylonians, was slain. And we've always said Darius, but the audio Bible says Darius.
That sounds pretty cool.
Darius the Mede became king. My Bible says that's the age of 62, but yours probably says at the age of 62 years.
No, 62.
Really?
Yeah.
And it must have been King James. I read one of the translations that said 62 plus 2 years, which a score is 20 years. Mm-hmm. So it maths up. You learned something new.
So yeah, apparently there's a freaking war going on, and these guys are in a feast.
Is there a war going on?
Yeah, that's how's Darius just going to pop up in the night? Yeah, there's a war going on. So that's another part of the book I was reading about, this big old war that was happening. And it talks about how they did it. They went through the river. Like the river goes through Babylon. So they're I think they dug trenches to let the water level down. And they just snuck in through the river. Just took over. I don't know if they snuck in, but...
While God...
That could also be why Daniel was you freaking idiot, there's a war going on, you suck, this is what's going to happen, the Medes and Persians are going to get you, and they do.
That's wild, because as God's writing this on the wall, mm-hmm. I picture an aerial view, yeah. Right? And he sees the Medes sneaking into Babylon.
Yeah.
And he's writing it on the wall, as they're coming in. That's dope.
Yeah.
That's like a movie. Another movie scene.
Yeah. I think there's also something about Isaiah prophesied this happening. It was some prophecy to Cyrus, or Kyrus, I don't know. And he's the Persian king with Darius the Mede king. Mm-hmm. It's just interesting stuff.
If Belshazzar was dethroned and killed because he drank out of the Lord's goblets... Mm-hmm. How come all the wives and concubines and nobles that also drank out of it weren't killed?
We don't know that they weren't. It
just doesn't say. It doesn't say they were killed, though. They could have just put that little... That's a good footnote they could have put in there. Oh yeah, and by the way, everyone else that drank out of that cup was killed too.
I would think bad things happened to them in some form. Is that one good?
Ooh, the white peach is good.
I haven't had it. Because I've had regular peach, and I was curious if that is the same as the regular peach one, or if the white makes it different.
It's whiter. This one's good. Yeah.
I figured it might be.
Yeah. This one, I will not get again.
Flour. You don't want to drink flour?
I drank the flour bed. It's not bad, but, when you have all of the other,
It's I think there's one...
Even with this one, there's no way I would get that one when this one's an option. The white peach is good.
I feel I remember one of them having lavender in it. And I'm why are we putting lavender to taste?
Lavender's a big thing.
Why would you... I don't get it.
People like eating soap. I don't know.
Well,
that's what you associate lavender with, though.
Yeah.
Everything. Lavender, you think of soap.
Flowers.
Lotions.
Flowers. There's a lot of flowers.
Body wash, shampoo.
Yeah.
Anything that's not edible.
Yeah.
It smells good.
Yeah.
It looks pretty. Nice purple. Yeah. Purple flowers. Maybe they had lavender in the hanging gardens.
They might have.
If I was going to tie that back into this.
Yeah, I think it's funny this guy Belshazzar, he didn't get a second chance like Nebuchadnezzar.
He didn't even get time, bro. That very night.
Yeah. I just think that's just how blasphemous he was. Like, I'm sure he did it on purpose. He's like, hey guys, you think this is a fun feast? Check out this cool stuff. This is the Most High God's whatever.
Look what I can do from the temple. But like, when a king puts somebody in a position, so Belshazzar put Daniel as the third highest rank in his kingdom. So when a king puts somebody in a position, if that king dies, do they maintain that position, or is it up to the next king to decide?
I don't know.
Because if that's the case...
It doesn't matter in this case because it's a whole new freaking...
regime,
Kingdom, yeah. So it doesn't
But
matter.
either way, like, so Daniel gained and lost his position in the same night.
Yeah.
So if you ever get a job and then they let you go, like, within the first week, just remember Daniel lost his job in the first day.
Yeah.
And he didn't even do anything wrong. So, yeah.
But Darius ends up liking this guy. So.
Darius loved Daniel.
So that's pretty cool.
Darius.
Yeah.
I like Darius is just easier to say. Darius is like more powerful.
Also, the way I think is a lot of more foreign languages, the I's are more of an E sound instead of an I sound. I is more like how we speak in English or whatever. So I think it's probably more Darius.
We can go with Darius.
Yeah. Darius.
But it could be Darius for...
It could be Darius.
Whatever you prefer.
Darius.
Darius?
Okay, so Darius is in town now.
Kingdom swap. King Darius appointed 120 satraps to
whatever
rule.
That means.
I'm going to get to it because I have the definition here for you.
Okay.
I already went ahead on that one.
I don't really care.
Because I'm like, what the heck is a satrap? It sounds like a booby trap.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, he just put traps around the kingdom? That's cool. But no, I'll get to it. So he appointed 120 satraps to rule throughout the kingdom with 3 administrators over them, one of whom was Daniel. Mm-hmm. So the king of the enemy that just killed the king of the Babylonians and took over somehow liked Daniel. So Daniel's charisma level must have been pretty high too.
Yeah. Or he's just like...
Or he was like
let me retire, please. Please, sir. I just want to retire.
Your punishment is no.
Oh.
You will serve in my kingdom.
But no, I think they liked each other. I think they got along.
Yeah, so I looked up satrap. The definition, a provincial governor in the ancient Persian Empire.
Cool.
Each satrap controlled a specific amount of land.
Cool.
Collecting taxes. Cool. And maintaining law and order.
Cool.
So they were the...
sheriff in town. Like a mayor, sheriff, governor. Cool.
Yeah, and tax collector. Each satrap controlled a specific amount of land, collecting taxes and maintaining law and order. Daniel was one of the 3 administrators over these 120 people. So, I mean, if they divided them evenly, Daniel had 40 employees. It's a lot to manage at that age.
But then he liked them so much, he was going to have him be ruler over all of them?
Yeah. It says, Daniel distinguished himself over the other administrators and satraps by his exceptional qualities, that the king planned to set Daniel over the whole kingdom. So the other satraps and administrators tried to find grounds for charges against Daniel, but couldn't find any. So then they came to the conclusion, and this is like a quote, "We will never find any basis for charges against this man Daniel unless it has something to do with the law of his God." And...
so they make up a rule.
And here we go. Yeah. So
it gives me Pharisee vibes with Jesus.
It really does. Like,
and even was just Pilate with Jesus? Pilate being some
Pilate?
Sure.
Pilate?
I don't know.
I mean, you're...
Pilate?
Yeah.
Both end up being... Okay, yeah. So there's they come up with these rules. They go to Darius, say, hey, shouldn't no one pray to their God or do anything except through you? And they're like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Like, okay, let's make it a rule. For 30 days, don't go to any God except going through you first. First off, like, dude, 30 days, you're just saying your gods suck. If you can go 30 days without your God, why do you have this God?
Yeah, but we haven't even gotten there yet. But
well, no, that's right where we are, right?
It's close. There's a little bit of a detail that I wanted to get to.
What is it?
It's literally the sentence before everything
What
you
is
just
it?
said.
What is it?
So, verse 6, the satraps and administrators went as a group.
Oh, they live forever again?
Well, they do that. I'm done with that. I hate that phrase.
Okay.
That phrase is patronizing, and if anyone said that to me, I would have them executed.
Okay.
After a warning. I'd give them a strict warning first.
Yeah, I got you.
And then if they did it again, I'd be like, you're not going to live forever.
It's the same thing we do today with whoever's president. Trump. Same thing, just different, but same thing. Kinda.
I would rather have them wear "Make Babylon Great Again" hats.
This is what they do. Yeah.
What
were we saying about this?
So the satraps and administrators went as a group to the king and said, "O king, live forever." Okay. The royal administrators, prefects, satraps, advisors, and governors have all agreed that the king should issue an edict and enforce the decree that anyone who prays to any god or man during the next 30 days, except to you, O king, shall be thrown into the lion's den. And then they said, you need to put it in writing to make it official and irrevocable. So the king put it in writing. Out of all of the decrees for the king to sign, if this was so crucial, why would they only put it for 30 days?
Yeah, I don't get it.
Like, why not make it indefinite? And why didn't the king ask them,
like, what is this for?
Why only 30 days? Like, the king should have sanity checked them.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to put a rule in place, why would it have a 30-day timeline on it? That's stupid.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a red flag.
Yeah. But he's just like, yeah, sure, sounds good to me. I'm king. I like that.
So, my second point regarding that is, like, literally every leader in the kingdom came together against Daniel.
Yeah.
Like, all of them.
We can assume maybe some of them aren't aware of this. But yeah,
the royal administrators, prefects, satraps, advisors, and governors
come to this agreement.
All agreed.
Yeah. Half of them got to be like the same as the king. Like, sure, sounds good. I don't care.
But here's the thing.
I forget to pray to my God every 60 days. 30 days is nothing.
Do you think they all hated him because he was blameless and he couldn't, like, they couldn't get away with anything? Like,
he's not Babylonian. He's a high-ranking guy that's not Babylonian.
But these guys aren't Babylonians.
Or not Persian. And Median?
Median?
Is that?
Medish?
Medes?
Mede?
What are they called?
Mede?
Yeah.
Mede-like.
They're not Mede and Persian.
Are Medes and Persians two different things?
I think so.
I think so, but are they two different kingdoms or are they like an alliance?
Yeah.
I hate when you do that.
I don't know. It sounds like they're different, but they're joined.
They say Medes and Persians, but they act like one.
It's like the United Kingdom. Isn't that... They're a thing, but they're multiple different things?
Are you talking about the United Nations?
No. The United Kingdom. Like Great Britain, but it's also... What is it? Like Scotland, Ireland are part of the United Kingdom? I don't know. So it's something like that.
I don't know.
Yeah, they're together, but they're joined.
So they're allies. That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
Like the U.S. and Canada.
They're more joined.
Which is going to become the 51st state.
I doubt it.
Oh, it's going to happen.
Don't we already have 51 states?
No.
And we have other provinces and stuff too, aren't they states?
Well, we have Puerto Rico.
And there's like others.
New Mexico.
But what?
Gulf of Mexico. Gulf of America. New America. Who knows? I don't know. But Canada is going to be a state.
Doubt it.
A big state.
Doubt it.
You think they'll divide it?
It's not going to be a state.
Dude, Trump is going to make Canada a state.
There's no way.
I'm just wondering if they're going to...
If Canada doesn't want to be a state, there's not going to be a state.
That's not true.
That is true. Is Trump a president or is Trump a tyrant?
He's a president with...
Okay, so they're not going to be a state.
He's got charisma. He'll talk him into it. All the maple syrup and hockey you can stand.
I doubt it. We can
if you join the U.S.
No, they have that regardless.
I know they do.
What
What does America have that Canada wants? Oh,
Florida.
National security.
I think they're all right.
They're neutral.
Yeah, no one wants Canada.
Canada's awesome.
Except us.
Canada's great for skiing.
Yeah.
Very scenic.
Yeah.
Mountainous.
Yeah.
I mean, their cops ride horses.
We have cops that ride horses too.
I know, but
Okay.
but like full-time horses. They have a mounted sheriff's department. I'm not talking about like New York City where you have to have a horse just to get down the street.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, these guys are joined more than us in Canada, being just allies.
What about Greenland?
No. No,
Greenland is part of the U.S. now.
it's not.
You know, for somebody who's caught up on so many current events, you don't even know.
I do.
I'm just
Maybe I don't, but
it's just fun to mess with you. So the other question I have about this, because all these leaders come together against Daniel, why would the king not ask where Daniel was? If Daniel was so prestigious, like the best of the best, I'm going to put him in charge of everything.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't the king go, oh, what's Daniel think about this? Or where's Daniel? Was he part of this? He didn't once ask or question at all about his top guy, what he thought.
No.
If he did that, we wouldn't have this story.
It's true. But maybe just because it was related to him and he liked that praise, he's like, cool. If you guys want it, I like it. Let's do it.
30 days of praise.
Yeah.
It's so lame, though. Like, if he really liked it, he would have been like, okay, let's just do this
All the time.
all the time.
Yeah.
Maybe it was like a King Appreciation Month. You know, we have Pastor Appreciation.
Sure.
I'm just trying to figure out how the logic ties in. Like, why are the kings so dense sometimes? I don't understand how leaders become leaders when they don't have common sense or logic.
Sure. What was that?
I think I heard it.
This is squeaky.
It is not the bench. Oh, man.
It was right there.
It was. So anyway, it says in verse 10, when Daniel learned that the decree had been published, he went home to his upstairs room.
He's like, oh, I can't do that. Let me go.
Where the windows opened towards Jerusalem. 3 times a day he got down on his knees and prayed, giving thanks to his God, just as he had always done. Mm-hmm. Then these men went as a group, and they specify as a group, and I highlighted that because I'm gonna make a point later on. And found Daniel praying and asking God for help. So they went to the king and spoke to him about his royal decree. So how did the men find Daniel praying if he was in his house upstairs on his knees?
And he opens a window.
But if he's on his knees, was the window...
Doesn't it mention that's what he does all the time? He just does it because that's what he does?
Yeah, but it says
so they know
went as a group and found Daniel praying.
Yeah, they know that's what he does.
Did they just hear him?
He does that every day. So they plenty of people walk by, oh, there's Daniel praying. Oh, there's Daniel praying.
But how do they know? They can't see him. He's in his house upstairs.
Opens the window.
Well, he opens the window. Who cares? But were they on a roof?
Go in front of that window. I'm going to walk by in the street. You pray right in front of that window. I'm going to see you.
You won't see me.
I'm going to see you.
No, because when you pray on your knees, you're like almost in like a fetal position.
That's bowing down. That's not on your knees.
But that's typically how they prayed back then. Is you're on your knees, but your head is to like the mat.
People do both. Like you go up and down and up and down and up and down.
I know, but still, if you're on the second floor.
Also, a window might not be exactly the same as, I don't know. He does it all the time. They know he does it. However, they know.
Did they go to like another rooftop?
Maybe. Yeah.
Do they have binoculars? Maybe they're on the other roof with binoculars?
Hey.
Did they have spy pigeons fly up into the window and report back?
No, they've just seen him do it before. However they've seen him, they go to that spot, they see him again. Because they know that's what he does.
So his window must have been really low to the ground then. If they could see him from...
Maybe.
He's upstairs, they're in the street. I don't know. But they went back to the king and told him...
Well, first, they're like, hey, you had this decree, right? They're like, yeah. Oh, okay. Daniel's breaking it.
Yeah, they...
Take him to the lion's den.
Yeah.
Good old Darius is like,
They played the king like...
Yeah.
Like,
but Darius likes him, so Darius doesn't want to throw Daniel.
Yeah, so it says, when the king heard this, he was greatly distressed and was determined to rescue Daniel and made every effort until sundown to save him.
This fun part, are you talking about the fasting? He goes and fasts for a night?
Not yet.
Oh, man.
Because he doesn't do that until later. But then it says in verse...
Oh, it was after he's thrown in.
Yeah. Then the men went as a group, again, to the king and said to him, remember the law, blah, 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 blah. And they basically just reiterated everything they talked him into signing. Mm-hmm. I made a note, and this is a word of advice for everybody. Be careful who you surround yourself with, because I doubt any of these men would have done any of this by themselves. But the power of stupidity in numbers will take you places you know you shouldn't be, doing things you know you shouldn't do. Because that was like a thought that came to me, because it keeps specifying these men went as a group. Mm-hmm. They went as a group. But individually, there's no way any of them would have done any of this. So you got to be careful who you surround yourself with, because if you surround yourself with stupid people, the power of stupidity in numbers will put you in places you don't want to be, doing things you don't want to do. So I thought that was a noteworthy thing to point out here. So unfortunately, the king had Daniel thrown into the lion's den. And a stone rolled over the entrance and sealed with his signet ring and the signet ring of the nobles.
Mm-hmm. So this verse, I mentioned it, reminding me of Jesus and Pilate. But it also kind of almost mirrors Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fiery furnace. Like,
God, this is so good.
Nebuchadnezzar says, hey, you got to bow down to this. And they're like, yeah, we're not going to do that. We're going to keep doing what we do, and it's not that. And then they're in trouble and thrown in the furnace. And then now Daniel's like, cool, nice decree. I don't care. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. So be it. So he's thrown into the lion's den. And then since it mirrors it, the way I'm visualizing this whole thing, since this is a new kingdom rolled up in, it's still the fiery furnace. There's just no more fire. They just throw some lions up in there. They have to put their pet lions somewhere. So they're just repurposing for a new...
plausible.
For a new torment.
It's plausible because it has a top and a door somewhere, right? Because it says a stone...
A stone is on it.
It says a stone is... Well, no, because we'll get there.
When they throw the other people
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
So I'm visualizing it's the same...
I think they reused the furnace. Now that you mention it, I love that. I love that idea.
Like, what is this charred up place? Like, we can't do anything with it, but we got to put these lions
This would be
somewhere.
great for the lions. It's pretty secure.
Yeah.
I love that.
I just thought it was funny.
No, that's sweet. Man, that's a good one. So the king sealed him in with the stone, and then the king didn't party that night.
Mm-mm. He goes and
He had
fasts.
no entertainment.
Yeah.
No eating.
Yeah.
No drinking.
Like a regular night.
He barely even slept.
Okay. But so did you read where he fasts for a night? Is that not every night for you?
What?
Do you not fast every night?
When you're sleeping, obviously, but
yeah.
But he didn't sleep.
Okay.
So it's fasting.
I just thought it was funny. I'm like, fast for a night. I'm like, it's literally a regular night. You just go to sleep, you wake up, you eat breakfast because you broke your fast.
Yeah.
I just thought it was funny. I'm like, that's not that big a deal if you're fasting at night.
The king returned to his palace and spent the night without eating and without any entertainment being brought to him. Okay. And he could not sleep. And he could not sleep. He didn't even have any entertainment brought to him.
Boo-hoo. Wow.
He was distraught.
Yeah, then the king went to his palace and spent the night fasting. No diversions were brought to him, and he in sleep fled from him.
No diversions.
Yeah.
I like entertainment. See, this is when the NIV, I like the way it says it here.
You like the NIV here?
In this one sentence.
Okay.
The king spent the night without eating and without any entertainment being brought to him.
Sounds like a regular night. He gets entertainment every night.
Yeah, he's the king.
That'd be such a boring life.
Being entertained every night?
Yeah, eventually it's like, seen that, done that.
No, because
every night.
That's why you have the diviners and the enchanters and the magicians. They come in and they.
That's why you do nothing in sleep.
They shoot fire.
That's why you rest.
Fire breathers and twirlers.
That's why you got to rest and do nothing and just relax and sleep, because you can't live your life boom, 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 boom all the time.
Kings live life in the fast lane, man.
And look what happens to him.
I don't know what happens to him. I never said.
I don't know. They seem miserable from every other thing.
Most people that have unlimited wealth are.
Yeah,
they just can't find anything that... There's just nothing that will satisfy them. That's why they just want more and more and more and more and more.
My favorite place is my back deck in the sun, doing nothing. Reading a book, usually.
But that's not doing nothing. That's reading a book. That's entertainment.
A little bit.
That would not qualify as being distraught. At the first light of dawn, the king got up and hurried to the lion's den and found Daniel in pieces.
Daniel.
Is that what your Bible says? Found Daniel in pieces?
No.
No?
Because yours doesn't say that either.
Oh, you got me. When he came near the den, he called to Daniel in an anguished voice. Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God, whom you serve continually, been able to rescue you from the lions? Daniel answered, O king, live forever. I would have been like, nah, leave him in there. My God sent his angel, and he shut the mouths of the lions. They have not hurt me, because I was found innocent in his sight. Nor have I ever done any wrong before you, O king. So the king was overjoyed. He gave orders to lift Daniel out of the den. See, lift Daniel out of the den. So when they put him in, they rolled a stone in front with the signet rings. Mm. Then when they took him out, they lifted him out. So he didn't come out the same way he went in. Mm. And that has multiple meanings.
Unless you roll the stone over the top.
Then it would fall and everyone would be crushed.
No.
How are you going to roll a stone over the top of a...
stone is bigger than the hole?
No. It doesn't work like that.
Like a manhole covering.
No.
The circle is bigger than the inner circle.
You think the lion's den had a manhole-sized covering? No. No, like...
It doesn't say, they took him in sideways.
It doesn't say they removed the stone either.
That's true.
When Daniel was lifted from the den, no wound was found on him because he had trusted in his God. So Daniel, he went in horizontally, he came out vertically.
Maybe.
No, that's what it says. Prove me wrong.
Prove me wrong.
I win.
We don't know. I like it, though.
He came out differently than he went in. That's the point of that.
Maybe.
Not maybe. He did.
It is maybe.
It says it right there.
Kind of. Maybe.
In between the words, if you read in between the lines.
There's spaces in between the words.
Yeah, you fill them in with interpretation.
Oh, okay.
Maybe God hasn't revealed this to you yet. The writing's on the wall, Johnny.
Oh, wait, I'm wearing a lion shirt today.
You are, which is... You did that on purpose, right? It's not, like, coincidental.
I definitely did it on purpose. The shirt I've had forever, and it's actually, like, the smallest shirt I own. So I was worried to wear it.
It looks big on you.
There's no way it looks big.
It looks big. It looks like size too big for you. It looks like a large, and you're a medium.
I can hardly breathe. I've been sucking in this whole freaking time.
I do love that shirt, though.
Yeah, it's like my smallest shirt.
It puts things into perspective. Because, like, if you were in a den of those...
This freaking thing?
No,
I can't see
bro.
my mouth.
No, bro. Look at those teeth. God, dude, lions are terrifying. Like, they're no joke.
I think it was funny. Was it the last podcast? There's something we mentioned lion being the king of the jungle. And then it's like the funny joke, like, why are they the kings? They just lay around. Like, they don't do anything half the time.
Like most
they're
kings.
Not that great. I mean, they're terrifying, but I'm like...
They have all the power and they don't need to do anything.
Bring an elephant
exactly like
there.
a king.
Bring an elephant up in there. Elephant will throw that thing.
Yeah, lions are scared of elephants. That's true.
Yeah.
Anyway, verse 24, at the king's command, the men who had falsely accused Daniel were brought in and thrown into the lion's den, along with their wives and children.
Yeah. Before they even reached the ground. Before
they reached the floor of the den, the lions overpowered them and crushed all their bones. I have a couple of things.
All their bones midair, like
gone.
How many lions to people ratio?
Bro, all you need is one lion.
But to crush them before they hit the ground?
I mean, it's a lion's den, so you got to have at least 4, probably 5, at least.
I'm thinking like
because you have male and female. Then they typically have 3-4 cubs.
Yeah.
At least, and those are probably grown.
So there's probably like 5 families.
I mean, there's a lot of lions in there, I'm sure.
Gotta be. It's like before they hit the ground, is there like that one exception where like one of the kids falls and he keeps bouncing on the lions for like a couple minutes, but he doesn't technically hit the ground? He's like,
The lion, like...
He's like riding on one of them.
The lion jumps up to get him, but he like hits him with his nose instead and kicks him up, and then the other one, they're like playing volleyball with him.
Like a little 10 minutes of just pure terror.
But...
And then his bones are crushed.
But like, how crappy is that where your wives and kids are thrown in with you?
Yeah.
Like, unless they were part of your conspiracy, which in that case, fine, I don't have a problem with that. Throw them to the lions. But most likely they didn't.
Maybe. But then I'm also
in which
thinking,
case,
like,
that's pretty rough. If you're the kid and your dad messes up and you're getting thrown into a lion's den because your dad was an idiot.
But also a lot of times...
I really don't like that.
Yeah, but also a lot of times, like a family, like a household, they're going to have the same thoughts and beliefs. So this little kid's going to be raised to be just like his dad. Maybe.
Yeah, so just eliminate the whole stupidity in the line.
The whole thought process going.
Yeah. But notice how it didn't say, like, at the king's command, the men who had falsely accused Daniel were brought in. It didn't say as a group. So it didn't kill they didn't throw all of the men, like the whole group. It's just the men who had falsely accused Daniel. So
yeah.
So that just kind of reemphasizes my point of, like, you hang around with idiots, you might be the one getting burned while they get away.
That's not the fiery furnace.
Scot-free.
They're not getting burned.
Not literally. But they went as a group and did all this stuff. Conspiracy, following just all the dumb people. And you join this crowd and you're going as a group because there's power and stupidity in numbers. But then when it comes time to reap what you sow, only a select handful of that group got tossed to the lions, and you might have been, you might be one of them, and the people that actually started it or, helped bolster it got away scot-free, and you're getting thrown to the lions. So it just reemphasizes my point of be careful who you surround yourself with.
Well, it's the ones who maliciously accused Daniel, so it's like...
Yours says maliciously?
Yeah. What did yours say?
Falsely?
So they're still purposefully...
Those are two very different...
They are.
Falsely accused is accurate because they accused Daniel of doing something...
Even if they didn't mean it to be false, it can be false. But malicious is malicious, like with intent.
Well, they did. It was maliciously
orchestrated. So NIV doesn't make it exactly an intent. It can be false without it being intentionally false. But maliciously is like, that's intent.
Yeah.
So NIV sucks right here, but...
Maliciously I like maliciously.
So it's the ones who do it. Yeah, so they're still the ones at fault for doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Daniel lives on, and then Darius has a decree similar to Nebuchadnezzar, like, hey, God's
great.
Yeah,
it's a very repetitive story, isn't it? So then King Darius wrote to all the peoples, nations, and men of every language throughout the land. I issue a decree that in every part of my kingdom, people must fear and reverence the God of Daniel. For he is the living God, and he endures forever. His kingdom will not be destroyed, and his dominion will never end. So that seems very similar to what happened with Belshazzar and Nebuchadnezzar.
Well, Belshazzar doesn't say that at all. Belshazzar,
he's toast. He didn't say anything.
Yeah.
But Nebuchadnezzar,
he said all those things.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. I think Daniel also told him all those things. Like, hey, by the way, this is all the stuff that happened in Nebuchadnezzar.
Yeah. But then, in the last verse 28, it says, so Daniel prospered during the reign of Darius and the reign of Cyrus the Persian. So Darius the Mede, Cyrus the Persian. So I guess they reigned together, the Medes and Persians. They were kind of like co-leaders. That's what it makes it sound like.
Yeah.
So Daniel was around for Nebuchadnezzar, Belshazzar, Darius, and Cyrus. So 4 kings.
And whoever's in between them.
You think there was an in-between?
Yeah. I should have wrote down all the stuff about the lineages and timelines.
So, what does your Bible say in verse 28?
Same thing, I think. So.
Word for word.
So this Daniel prospered during the reign.
Right there. So yours says, so this Daniel.
Yeah. There's another Daniel.
Is there another Daniel?
No.
Well, why does it say this Daniel? Because I made that note because in NIV, in NIV it doesn't say that, but in English Standard it does. So this Daniel prospered during the reign of Darius and Cyrus the Persian. So is there another Daniel somewhere?
No.
Is this like a alternate universe kind of reference?
No.
Why would they say this Daniel?
Well, it probably has something to do with like names or like titles. So it's like this Daniel, this guy, specific. Because there's other Daniels living around. They don't have three names like.
Yeah, but if they just said so Daniel, you think other people are gonna be like, oh yeah, there's some other rando in the city named Daniel that we're talking about here. No, the whole book is literally Daniel's book. He's not gonna write about another Daniel. He could have said so I Daniel.
Yeah.
Like, because who finished this book? Was Nebuchadnezzar? He obviously wasn't Nebuchadnezzar. He wasn't writing it.
Yeah, it's Daniel.
So why would Daniel write? So now he's talking about himself in the third person.
Yeah.
But then in that translation, it says, so this Daniel. Like, why wouldn't you just say, so I, Daniel, prospered? I just don't... I don't like the way they change up the
word.
The first person, third person, not even the same person. It's weird.
That is a weird little word to put in there.
But yeah, and that wraps up Daniel 4 through
for us
6.
Yeah.
That wraps up Daniel in general, yeah, because Daniel goes on for what, 12?
That wraps up the pizza podcast version of Daniel.
12 chapters?
Yeah.
Yeah, the 7 through 12.
So there's 6 more.
7 through 12 are just Daniel having weird, crazy dreams and visions and really cool conceptual things, but more of like an acid trip. The stuff in his dreams, like it's wild. Like if you're interested in reading about the crazy dreams Daniel has, yeah, the 4 beasts.
Because I read it,
and the ram and the goat and all this other stuff. Like it's pretty wild. But
I guess I will just say the weird thing is people talk about like these prophecies have double meanings, which I'm like, okay, maybe. So like all these prophecies are things that were fulfilled. I think there's a couple that they're like, oh, we haven't seen this fulfilled. But a lot of these, it's like, oh, this was the Persians that came over. Oh, this was the Greece after them. Oh, this ram and this goat represents the Roman whatever. And it's like, oh, and then it was fulfilled. Like it actually happened. It's like, okay, cool. And they're like, oh, but it also signifies this in the end times. I'm like, does it? If it's fulfilled, but it's still yet to be fulfilled.
Then it's not.
I'm like, what is it? I'm like, I don't know where it says, oh, by the way, this has a second meaning. Like, I get things can allude to stuff, like how I mentioned Abraham and Isaac, which I forgot to mention when I talked about the whole divine conception thing. I forgot to mention Isaac is a sacrificial son. I think I forgot to mention that. It was like a crucial part. He's a potential sacrificial son, like Jesus is.
We already know because we talked about that.
Yeah, but I forgot to mention that in my point, where I was like, oh, is this alluding to these aspects of Jesus? So I get like some of these could allude to stuff, but it's also like, it doesn't mean they always are. I don't know. It's interesting, but I don't know.
I still want to know what happened to Nebuchadnezzar.
Yeah.
It never says what happened to him.
There's probably history books that...
It goes right from his story into Belshazzar.
Yeah. I think, isn't it?
Because if his kingdom was restored and the kingdom passed on to another Babylonian...
Yeah.
Kings don't retire, right? They either die... They die. That's the only way they're not kings.
Yeah, you pretty much just die.
But it never says Nebuchadnezzar died. It didn't say how old he was. Didn't say what happened to him. I don't like missing gaps. Give us the information.
Yeah, it's fun to know. It's not the point of it.
I need closure.
Yeah.
Is Nebi still out there somewhere?
No.
He's roaming with the beasts?
Not a chance.
You think he went back to the wild?
No.
Maybe he just missed it.
No.
Maybe he missed it.
I think he turned his life around.
Or maybe, nope, because he died. I was going to say, maybe Belshazzar was the king while he was out being feral. But then...
He was killed and taken over by Darius.
Maybe Nebi went back and took over from Darius again.
No.
No? It's possible.
Because the whole gold statue being Babylon, and then the chest being the Medes and Persian. Now we're at the Medes and Persians. And then after them is, I think, Greece. And then after them is Rome. Which they go into, these other visions are kind of the same vision, just different.
Yeah, I want to know.
Look up some history books. There's probably some history on them.
I'll Google it.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, by history book,
That's what I mean.
Nebi. Are you just going to Google
what happened to Nebi?
What happened to King Neb's classic Nebi?
Yeah, you got me calling him Nebi. I was calling him Neb, and you got me calling him Nebi now.
I like Nebi because it's
fun.
Nebuchadnezzar, so it's Nebi. If you try and spell it, it's a bit of a pain.
Nebuchadnezzar the second.
There's a second?
Well, I think this guy is the second. He's just not said the second here.
Oh.
Died.
He died?
At the age of around 80.
Oh, so it's all guesswork. No one knows. Dang it. I was hoping there'd be some sort of ancient manuscript that was found.
I mean, there probably is. I just have to find
You think Tim would know?
Well, he would do what I'm doing, and then he would let us know.
No, he would not be Googling.
Call him.
He has, like, literal ancient manuscripts that he reads. He's got, like, the Dead Sea Scrolls in his house or something. Call him.
When did he die?
It's quarter to 12. I don't think he'd be happy if I called him right now.
We got a
I'd be better off.
question.
I'd be better off calling him at 5 a.m. than I would be at midnight. Because he's an early riser. He gets up at like 4 o'clock to work out or something.
Sounds right. Yeah, he mentioned last time when we were hanging out with him, like 5 o'clock. He was doing something.
Yeah. All right. Well,
yeah.
I guess it'll remain a mystery.
Tell us what we have next up.
Well, we have not discussed our pizza rating yet.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about the important thing first. This pizza was really good. The chicken finger stuffed crust was really good. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan. But compared to the other pizzas we made, I would probably give this one like a 8.6, maybe.
I'm going 8.2.
8.2?
Yeah.
Why, are you going to drop us to an 8.4?
Oh, I'm sorry. I like it.
I mean, it's fair. It's a good pizza.
Yeah.
All right, 8.4. It's official. The barbecued chicken finger stuffed crust pizza, 8.4.
All right. Let everyone know what we're talking about next.
So we're going to be talking about
Stay tuned next time for
static. Oh, this is going to be really exciting. So we're going to be talking about... Oh, you broke up. What was that? I don't know. It's fun kind of reading the stories and trying to picture being there. And
I think this is part of my self-centeredness, like maybe egotistical thing or whatever. Like, we think so much of ourselves as like, oh, when I get to heaven, if Nebuchadnezzar's in heaven, is he going to be mad at me for like bashing on him? You ever wonder that? Like, oh, when I meet this person in heaven, what are they going to think? Like, if you think about it, like, oh, what are they going to think toward me? They don't know who you are. They're not looking to what cared about you. What are you talking about?
You don't know. If that's the case, Samson and Jonah and Delilah are going to be super mad at me.
Oh, it's so funny. I was literally thinking that the other day. I'm like, why am I even thinking that? Oh, it died. Or it's dying. Podcast, no.
Thanks for tuning in. Podcast over. Static.
And then his bones are crushed.